Hey, what's up guys, George Booster here and welcome back to another One Piece video. Today we're doing something pretty fun. We are doing a tier list, which is always very cool, and today is special because I actually have a little, or not a little, I have a big guest here. SkepasG, George, please go ahead, introduce yourself.
Hello guys, it's good to be here, to be in the Joshua Boosters video. I'm SkepasG, I'm George, my name. I play card games for like 14 years. I play a lot of One Piece lately. I have won a regional in Utrecht with Red Green Law.
Best deck.
Yeah. So I have 5 or 6 top 32s and 2 top 16s. So I have a little bit of experience in tournaments for this game. I currently stream on Twitch at twitch.tv/SkepasG. I did last week every day. So if you want to watch some gameplay, please go ahead. But yeah, we're gonna talk about the EB format today.
Yep. Oh, by the way, I will be linking his Twitch in the description if you want to check it out, so you know where to find it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And yeah, exciting stuff. New set, always the best time for card gamers, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And I think this set, even though it only introduces like one new archetype, if you will, it does support a lot of the older archetypes. So it will definitely shake up the format in a pretty interesting way, I think. And also in a good way, because I wasn't really enjoying OP10. And I do feel like the format will be better going forward. Do you agree?
I agree. Yeah. I think OP9 and OP10 became a little bit, both of them were a little bit too open formats for me.
Yeah.
With decks like Shang and Purple Luffy, I think it's good for us to have like add a little bit more variety and a little bit more, let's say, I would just use the word difficult, like more interesting decks to play. You know?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, we're doing a tier list just to explain it a little bit, like what is tier 1, what is tier 2, what is tier 3, and the last tier should be obvious. But tier 1 is, in my opinion, those are like decks that are gonna consistently top and win like regional level events, big treasure cups, regional stuff like that. Then tier 2 is probably decks that can top those events, but they probably won't do it as consistently or be as big a part of the pie chart as the tier 1 decks. And then tier 3 is like local warrior decks, I guess. And then actual rogue bait is like actual rogue/bait. Yeah, makes sense, right? This shouldn't be too complicated. I think we should just like dive into it, starting with Teach. And probably a hot take, but I think Teach is going to move down to tier 2. And the reason I think this is going to happen is because probably the best/most popular deck is going to be Green Purple Luffy, which we'll be talking about later, which is a horrible matchup for Teach. So probably people will play it less, and it will do not as good as well. Yeah, I mean, if you disagree, agree, let me know, George. Like, what do you think about this?
I agree. I think the deck is definitely not tier 1. I think having the most popular/best deck in the format as a like quite bad matchup is a recipe to not be tier 1, I think. I would be surprised if I see Teach winning tournaments in EB, even though we don't have a lot of them because it's a short format. I would be honestly very surprised to see that.
Same. I think you have to get super lucky to win a tournament with this leader.
You have to not hit any Green Purple Luffys, or if you hit them, they have to just not draw the 6-drop Luffy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just really hard. So I think the deck is still pretty good, and it will be good against some decks that are good against Green.
Yes.
But to be honest, you are basically just picking the deck, hoping you dodge the most popular deck in the format, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, you just want to run into like the anti-Green Purple Luffy decks with this deck, and then I don't know, it just doesn't sound like such a solid strategy. But I mean, we've seen crazier things. So I mean, if it wins the tournament, then it is what it is. But I don't see it happening, but it definitely could, right? And the deck is super consistent, which is always a positive for a deck like this.
I think winning one tournament could happen, but winning multiples will not. So
yeah, I agree. Yeah. All right, I mean, let's move on to the next one. Bonnie, you want to kick this one off?
Yeah, I think Bonnie is also tier 2. I think Bonnie has a positive that it's actually good against Green Purple Luffy.
Yeah.
Or at least it's not bad.
Yeah, it's playable.
So, yeah, depending on their list, if they don't play Gamma Knives, I would go as far as say probably positive for Bonnie because
Yeah,
8 Kid is really strong in that matchup.
for sure. Yeah.
But again, it has an issue with the black text of the format. So Teach, Lucci. So I think if the format will be like mainly involved around around like Green Purple Luffy and the black decks, Bonnie is not in the greatest position, but I think
Yeah.
it's in tier 2 because it's still a powerful deck.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly,
Yeah.
I really agree. It's like the other way around from Teach, right? Like it's decent-ish going into Green Purple Luffy, but then this deck suffers against the matchups that people are going to be like the decks people are going to be playing to counter Green Purple Luffy. So
Yep.
again, with this deck, you also just have to get lucky with your matchups. But like you said, just inherently, it is a good deck, right? It is like still the best mono green leader by far, I think.
Yeah.
So probably if you're going to
Okay.
be playing green, then you play this. Or Lim, I suppose. But we'll get to that later.
Yep.
Next one's actually Kalgra. And I'd like you to start off with this one as well, because I don't know that much about the deck, to be honest. So,
Makes sense. I think Algara is a pretty cool deck. To be honest, I think it's been consistently between tier 2 and 3
yeah.
for a long time now, to be honest. I think it kind of depends. I feel like it has like an okay matchup into Green Purple, but not good. And it's the same for. I feel like the deck doesn't have as many polarizing matchup as it used to have in the past.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. I think before we have a searcher, it's probably tier 3.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, but I do think it's a strong, like you can definitely win locals consistently with the deck.
Yeah.
You know, so I think it's powerful, but it's just not on the same level as the other tier 2 decks.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think like you mentioned, I'm not super familiar with the deck or anything, but I think it mostly really struggles like with consistency because you can't like get to the what's his face Noland as often as you'd like, right? And then the deck's just kind of mediocre. It's not bad by any means.
No.
Like it's not an unplayable deck, but it doesn't quite box with decks like Teach or Bonnie, right?
Yeah. From the rogue decks, let's say, it's from the good side of the rogue
Yes.
decks. You know, that's why I would put it in tier 3 and not in the actual bait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moving on, I guess.
Yes. I want to hear this from you now.
So I actually love this deck. Like you might know this. I think like the best few formats I've always done a video on the channel as well playing this deck because I honestly think it's really powerful. It's just very similar to Zoro, right? It kind of plays the same strategy, only it synergizes with the animal package a little bit better than Zoro does, which is strong, of course. But then it is a 4 life leader opposed to a 5 life leader, which is a big difference. However, we got actual good green support for Chopper in this set in the form of the new Nami, right? So we can really consistently see our pieces with Chopper now, even more so than before. And we also got the new Chopper as well as the green Chopperman, the 5 cost that plays a 3 cost animal from your hand, which like obviously synergizes with the deck very well. So I'm kind of tempted to put this in tier 2, but like I won't be baiting too much. But I definitely think this is a very solid tier 3 deck. Like I'm 100% sure. Yeah, go ahead.
I will add to this. Put it in tier 2.
Okay, bro, I want to. Like I definitely want to.
Okay, I will explain why a little bit quickly. So
Go ahead.
I think that all the Straw Hat based green red decks, because we will get to Luffy later as well,
Yes,
are at least tier 2. I think that the way that the package works with the animal type decks that have 8 Nami searchers, it's by default very powerful. Like I tried the Chopper deck, I tried the Luffy deck, and I did really good with the Luffy deck, which we're gonna go later. Yeah. But I think that the baseline of just the animal package plus 8 Straw Hat searchers plus Mulgan being a card that's just a direct way of killing Sanjay Pudding from from just that package. It's so good that like it just has to be good, you know. Like the Teach matchup is super one-sided. You destroy them.
It's ridiculous.
I feel like with Mulgans, the Bonnie matchup is really good as well.
Yep.
So, and I feel like it has a good matchup against the other tier 2 decks, which should make you in a good spot, right?
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I only think like this deck specifically really suffers from having like a bad black deck matchup, aside from Teach, but it is not good against like removal based decks very
Yeah.
often. Even though like you do play like Rush stuff, which is just inherently strong against the black color, so it's not like unwinnable or anything. It's just like slightly not favored, I would say. But yeah, actually I agree, and I wanted to put this in tier 2, but I was like, maybe I shouldn't do it again, but I agree, thank you so much.
That's good.
Moving on. Moving on to Nell. Take it away. What do you think about this deck?
It's the actual rogue bait deck. I
Wow,
think
really?
yeah, I think you can call me like a hater about this one.
That's crazy, yeah.
But but to be honest, I just don't see what deck you want to see with NL right now. Like I'm really struggling to see why we're picking NL. Like I'll give you an example, right?
Yeah.
So how is the Shanks matchup? Bad.
Yes.
How is the Green Purple matchup? Terrible.
Yes.
How is the Teach matchup?
Horrible.
Pretty bad.
Unplayable,
Horrible.
yeah.
How is the Lucci matchup?
Horrible as well.
Horrible. Then what are we trying to beat then? All the random rogue decks, like Reiju, horrible.
Yes.
You know, so we're playing this deck basically to beat Zoros and
Dofi.
yeah, and actually I'm not even sure you beat like the green red Luffys and those kind. I'm not even sure you beat them all the time because when they have those very aggressive hands, they can also. So like Nami, horrible. Like I feel like after the Raigo ban, the deck is just not. You just cannot do this endless game. You're basically depending on pure like randomness to win games.
Yeah.
So you can go ahead. I want to hear what you think.
It's difficult. Like I don't think this deck is good by any means. However, putting it in like actual rogue bait, I think is like I think it's difficult to grasp, especially if we have like Kalgora in tier 3. Like surely NL should be better than Kalgora, right? Surely.
You think so?
I mean,
I don't think the matchup spread is worse. Like if I had,
I just feel like inherently the deck it should be better, but maybe I'm just like stuck in the past, like pre-Raigo ban. But they did get the NL, and that card is like it's not game breaking or anything like people were talking about when it's like was reviewed. But I don't think it's bad. It's like it's a very strong card for sure, especially against deck that can't remove it. It's pretty
tier 3 is
impressive.
fine. Tier 3 is fine. I'm okay with tier 3.
Okay, let's do it.
I did explain though what my thought process was, right?
I mean, it makes sense. Like I'm not saying you're wrong.
No, but I'm saying if I see like if I would see the deck having a really good matchup with some of the top decks, then I would say yes, go ahead, put it in tier 2. You know, for example.
Yeah.
But let's continue to your favorite deck, I guess.
I mean, this deck it's good. This Moria deck is good. I think it will not be good anymore going into OP11. I want to preface that. Yeah. However, let's just face it. This is like a super consistent black deck, just because the engine inherently is super consistent, right? Like what it does, just milling 2 cards, getting to your toolbox pieces, if you will. Even though, admittedly, mostly your toolbox is like just Absalom. You are mostly just getting him. But I mean, you have other options, right? And what makes this deck good in this format is that it can quite easily deal with the Sanji pudding on curve from like the big bad of the format, which is the new Luffy deck, right? So I really think this deck should be in tier 2. I think it's better than Chopper, probably even. Actually, I think it's better than Bunny, to be honest, just in my opinion. Yep. It's like pretty solid into Teach as well. Like out of all the black decks, it's probably the best going into Teach because it has like an easier time going wide.
I agree.
Yeah. That's
makes sense. I think it makes sense. I don't think I need to say it much. I'm like 50-50 against it with Green Purple Luffy.
Yeah.
I think it's probably a little bit favored from Moria. I would guess, depending on how you open. It might be a little bit favored from Moria. But I mean, yeah, if you have a good if you have like at least 50 or a good matchup with a popular deck, and you are a removal deck, which inherently has also good matchups with some other of the more aggressive decks.
Yep.
I think you're in a good spot. So.
Yep. And I actually think that just want to mention the Barcelona regional is like going on or finishing up right now, and I think Moria made top cut like twice, which is pretty cool. And yes, this is like the previous format, but I honestly think it's only getting better going into EB02. So, yeah, Moria, let's go. Then the next card we have here is Garp. And I wanted to include this just because it got support in EB02, and not just like the Sengoku, but it also got like this this Garp 5 cost, I think. That's I think it makes you pop a 4 cost because it gives a Don to the leader, and then you can KO a 3 cost, and you don't like need to like discard a card from your hand or anything, which is kind of cool. But for now, I guess it's a 4-life leader. Red-black synergy is not really there, so probably this is our first like bait rogue contender, I feel. I don't really have much more to say about it. It's just like a removal deck, but other decks do it way better.
Honestly, I think if the Garp was how you said it, it would be good. I think it's like, it's give 2 Dawn to your leader and then pop a 1 cost. So it only pops like a 3.
It's even worse, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, if it popped I think if it popped a 4, it would actually be good.
Yeah.
Because like on curve, then you can pop the 4 drop on your 5. I think then it would be very
right. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. But yeah, I agree. I think that it's one of the coolest decks in the game, I think.
I agree, yeah.
But I think it's consistently like just a little bit off. Like being 4 life makes you constantly die to the aggro decks, and you just the red synergy with black is just not good enough to compete with the mono black decks, let's say. Yeah,
I agree. Yeah, I mean that's it. Then going to Dofi. I mean you played this deck. Yeah, you played this deck pretty extensively, so go ahead.
Yeah, so I basically almost exclusively played Dofi in the OP10 format. I played 1 tournament with Greenlaw and 1 with Reiju. But I think the deck is really good. I think in EB it gets worse.
Yeah.
So I think it's tier 2. It's definitely not tier 1 in EB, I think. And I think it's because your matchup with GP is with Green Purple Luffy, it's just not really in your hands. Yeah. Like if they draw the Lunas and if they curve out properly with stage, you basically have no way of beating them, right?
Yeah.
Like the Green Purple deck has multiple ways to deal with you. Like they play the 4-cost Zoro to rest your teach and attack into it.
Yep.
They have a lot of tools where when they see them, you will lose.
Yeah.
So yeah, and to be fair, the Lucci matchup again is like a 50-50.
Yep. I agree.
So yeah, so if you're basically 50-50 and negative and against the 2 best decks, I mean, you beat the good thing is that you beat everything else, probably, right?
Yes, that is true.
Yeah, but that's why I think it's good. It's probably like you have it now, like 1 stage behind Teach, I would put it. But again, if you play the deck perfectly, you will do well.
I mean, it's just I agree with you, by the way, just on the take. But it's just one of those decks like it just super consistently performs its game plan, and its game plan it's just very strong. It's very versatile. You can play like in different ways against different decks, which just makes it such a popular deck, right? But I also feel, just want to mention that probably a lot of people who were like really big on playing this Doflamingo deck in the past formats, I feel like they're just going to switch to the Green Purple Luffy deck now, because it kind of takes like that same space. I feel just being like a super consistent, versatile deck. Yeah. But just with a better matchup spread.
If you like mid-range decks, like combat, if you like attack math and a little bit of a complicated playstyle, I think it's like the next step, let's say.
Yeah, I agree. All right, moving on to a deck that got really good support in EB02, which was also not bad in the past, I think, honestly. A little bit underrated, which is Vegapunk.
I agree.
I mean, I'm just not really sure. I'm just not really sure, like, where I want to put this deck, because it's... I think the biggest downside to this deck is honestly that it really struggles against black, because Vegapunk is a leader that does not attack, and just inherently all those decks that have a leader that doesn't attack, they really struggle against black, because it's very hard to apply pressure. Because if black removes your board, what are you gonna do, right? You literally can't pressure them on the next turn. What makes this deck pretty good, I think, is that it's kind of difficult to play against. Like, if you're unfamiliar playing into Vegapunk, this deck is going to steal wins.
You're done.
Yes,
you don't know what it does, you lost.
Right, and I think a lot of people, they don't know what this deck does.
But I think it's like the best tier 3 deck.
Yeah, I could even see it being a tier 2 deck, to be honest. Like,
No,
I'm,
I don't think so.
I f-
Can I tell you? So
yeah,
I
go
am
ahead.
I am now 8-0 against Vegapunk with
Yeah,
Green Purple Luffy.
yeah,
And I have done some coaching, and the coaching sessions I've also none of them have lost to Vegapunk. So
okay.
I have just not seen the deck lose to Vegapunk when it's played properly.
Yeah,
So it's one thing having a bad matchup, and it's one thing feeling like I cannot lose against that deck.
yeah. Okay,
Like,
fair
and
enough, yeah.
yes, when you are bad against black decks, maybe not against Teach, but when
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
like, let's say bad against uh,
Removal decks, right?
removal decks
Yeah,
and the most popular deck in the format, it's hard for me to put you
yeah.
at TR2, to be honest.
Yeah,
So,
fair enough.
but the deck is fun, and like Joshua said, if your opponent doesn't know and they attack live for some reason, they just instantly lose, right?
Yeah, it's
Like,
actually crazy.
yeah, yeah. So the deck is powerful for sure. It's just, I think that the way this format is right now, it just, the most popular decks will just end up being bad matchups for
Yeah.
Vegapunk. So yeah,
And then the deck just can't perform. Yeah, like with that logic,
yeah,
like I wasn't sure how this deck plays into Green Purple Luffy, but
yeah,
if the matchup is bad, then yeah, this deck is not a tier 2 deck.
yeah, yeah.
Speaking
I
of
agree.
Green Purple Luffy, we have Red Purple Luffy, which is not the same deck, but this is. I think this deck is pretty interesting. Didn't really get any new tools in EB02, I believe. But
Mhm.
I honestly don't think it was in such a bad spot in the past format. Especially, it's really good into Shanks, right? Which was a big thing in the last format, and like it's not bad into Lucci. It is very bad into Teach though, but we will probably see that deck less. In my opinion, this is like a tier 2 deck. I just think it's inherently very strong if you have these ramping capabilities that
Yeah.
Purple has, and the leader has like on its own, and you can just drop these big boss monsters when other decks are still like setting up. They can't really deal with those monsters. Monsters, bro. I'm a Yu-Gi-Oh player. I mean characters, of course, of
It's
course. Um,
I
yeah,
actually, you know what? I would put it higher in tier 2. I
yeah,
think
yeah, yeah,
it actually got better against Teach as well, because in the past your biggest issue was that they would just stop all your rush characters, but now the new Luffy, the purple one, they get to play that as well. The 6 cost
Oh
Luffy.
right, yeah,
So
that is
now
true.
they get, which is incredible against Blackbeard, right?
Yeah,
It's
yes,
yeah. So I think the deck got better, to be
yeah,
honest. Uh, but I'm always so weirded about this deck. Like, it either feels really good or really bad. Like,
yeah. I agree.
I don't know. I feel like it really depends how you curve out. Like, if your Zorojuro survives,
Yeah,
like I think there is a lot of things that it's dependent on the
yeah,
deck,
and it
right?
also plays like
Yeah.
a billion bricks, right? Like if you
Yes.
play against a deck that goes white and just goes like 6 6 6 6 6 6, bro, you're just going to lose. Like the
Yeah.
deck can't really do anything.
Like
Yes,
Chopper, for example, destroys this deck.
yes, like it's
Yeah.
the game sometimes ends on like the 7th on turn of the Chopper.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
actually kind of crazy. Yeah,
I played against that deck with green red Luffy, and I
yeah.
did kill them on the 7 on turn.
Yeah, see, there you go. Like that
Yeah.
literally happens, which is kind
Yeah.
of crazy. But
Yeah.
it's still a good deck though. Like it's not
Yeah,
bad.
for sure.
It's still
For
good.
sure.
All right.
Yeah.
Then actually speaking about Green Purple Luffy, we can just easily put this in tier 1 and then start talking about it. I think, right?
Yeah, I can talk a little bit about it
Yeah.
if you want, because I have like a quite good number of games.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So I am now at like 74% win rate on ranked sim with the deck. So pretty good, I would say.
Yes.
I think the deck is the mirror is really skillful,
Yep.
which is a great position to be for a TR1, let's say, most popular deck.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah, so, and I think that's why I enjoy this deck being good. It's because the deck is not TR0.
No.
It is not unbeatable, you know? A game plan that's revolving around a single card, you can take to beat it, you know?
Yep.
Like, for example, Chopper can play 4 Mulligans, right? I'm not saying it's correct to play 4 Mulligans, but if that's what you want to do, you could. So you could target the deck, but
Yeah.
the deck is really cool. It has a lot of lines. Every time I go through games with somebody, they always tell me, "Whoa, I never thought of this," or something, you know?
Yeah.
Like in the mirror, then in the mirror, you don't take a Dawn with Pudding. and then you stay at 6 so that you
Right,
can giant drop to 4 so that their Luffy loses Rush.
Yeah.
There is so many things that small things you can do, but the deck is very powerful. The matchup spread, a lot of people are not agreeing on. Let's say like it's a hot topic on X now about
Yeah.
people saying it's like the Lucci matchup, for example.
It is a very hot topic, yeah.
I'm gonna be completely honest with you. It's much closer than any of the two sides say.
I also think so.
If it is Lucci favorite, it's by a little bit.
Yeah. I feel like, just hopping in on that real quick, I honestly feel like with this deck, it's just the same with Doflamingo. People were like, oh, Lucci has a really good matchup into Doflamingo. It just really didn't. It had like a pretty 50-50, maybe super slightly favored matchup into Dofi, if you knew what you were doing. And I feel, again, with this green-purple deck, it's just more of the same, basically.
Yeah. I think it's the typical that the green purple deck is super consistent. They will always do the same thing, and the Lucci deck is not. And when the Lucci deck draws really well, they will win.
Yes.
But in the average games, green purple will win because let's say the average hands to bad hands from Lucci, then green purple will win. So that's why it averages out to be like 50-50.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I was about to like, no, I don't agree with that, but then you like corrected it, and I was like, I can feel that. Yeah. I don't think we need to say more about this, right? This is just like the best tier 1 deck, and the format will be shaped around this leader. But I do agree with you, by the way. I do think having this as the best deck is very healthy.
Yeah.
Which I like.
It plays no removal, right?
Literally zero. Like
zero.
Just Zoro, sort of.
rest the forecast.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
exactly. So if you want to make a cool deck that's around the card against that deck, go for it. I mean, they can't interact with it, right? So, yeah.
Then we have Bello Betty, which is a pretty interesting deck. Very similar to Zoro. Do you want to just do Bello Betty and Zoro like together because they are just sort of the same deck?
I'm gonna get some people sad about this one, I think.
Oh, really? Yeah. Okay. So I think.
Hot topic.
Okay. So people are very excited about this Bello Betty deck. I think because of OP11, where we will have like the Snake Man deck, and this deck is really good against the Snake Man deck. However, right now, I feel like Bello Betty isn't that strong. Like, it's not good into Lucci. It's not good into Lucci at all. Like, it's horrible into Lucci even though, like, I've heard people say, like, it's not that bad. It really is that bad. It's even worse now, I think, than it was in the past, because, like, the tech options Lucci is playing and, like, the way the deck's built just inherently also improves the Bello Betty matchup, which you probably don't want to be seeing. And then, I'm not sure how this deck plays into green-purple. Green-purple doesn't play any removal, so I would assume, like, the Kagasu sticks. And then Kagasu is very strong, right? So maybe it's okay into green-purple, but maybe you can have, like, a little bit more insight into that.
Yeah, so I don't know. Like, I'm close to putting it at bait, to be honest. But let's, like, in my opinion, the way I see the deck, probably I would, in my opinion, I would put it tier 3, probably in this format.
Yeah,
I think
agree.
It's probably top of tier 2 in OP11, if not tier 1.
Okay.
Probably not tier 1. Probably
hot take.
Yeah, but it's a hot take, but it's really favored against a deck that's I'm expecting to be 30% of the format, right?
Yes.
So it has to be very high on the list, I think, in OP11.
Yeah.
But I think in this format, because Teach is building to beat Green Purple with like they play like 3 Liberations and those kind of cards who are by default really good against you, that matchup becomes worse. You know, Dofi is incredibly difficult. Horrible matchup. Moria, horrible matchup.
Yep.
Bonnie, probably horrible matchup. I don't know, but I assume so. And I would think probably the Zoro deck. Zoro is also a bad matchup for Bello Betty because it's a 5-life leader.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like in this format, it doesn't really have a spot, and that's why we don't see it that much.
Yeah.
But for the Bello Betty lovers,
your time is coming.
OP11, your deck will be very good. Yeah.
I just something I'm noticing now is that if you look at our tier list, all the yellow decks, they are in tier 3. Tier 3 is just yellow.
Yellow haters, basically.
We are confirmed haters.
Yeah. That's okay.
I mean, I don't mind. I don't play yellow.
Yeah.
You do, I guess. You like Kagura. Okay,
Yeah,
and then
I guess.
yeah, Zoro is probably better than Bello Betty, right? Like
Yeah, I
Zoro
think it's tier.
should probably
Yeah.
be here.
Yeah, I think Zoro is probably also better against the Green Purple Luffy,
Yeah.
which is not like it's a favorite matchup, but I think it's better than the other decks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it goes the same as the Chopper, right? All the animal based decks are just
Very
good.
strong. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that engine is just powerful. You
Yeah.
know, so
Yep. Yeah, let's just not waste any more time talking about Zoro. But instead, let's talk. You can just run the show on this one, okay? Like I don't know. I
yeah.
have literally no idea. I mean, I have a little bit of an idea, but I just want to
So
hear you like the monologue about this. Go ahead.
yeah,
Go ahead.
it's like it's a little bit tricky to put this on a tier list because I'm gonna do it based on my point of view. But I have streamed a few games and I have played with the deck and I tried different lists. And to be honest, everything that adds outside of the box I tried does not work.
Okay.
So when I try to play like more control or play more, like it just doesn't work. So, but the baseline default deck with just adding 2 Mulligans, it's just really good. I haven't played that many games. I'm probably like 15-3, 15-2 with
Yeah.
the deck. Oh, you're gonna put it in the bait? That's okay.
No, I'm just kidding.
But I would say no. I would say I would probably put the deck in like tier 2, but probably for most people it's bait.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I will be completely honest. I think I would put it in tier 2, and the people I play with, like when I coach the deck, we win a lot.
Yeah.
But I would say it is so close to being unplayable. Like I feel like whenever I see somebody make a small mistake on the 4 don't turn,
Very
and they
punishing.
just lost instantly. They lost
Yeah.
instantly the game, right? So yeah, I would probably put it where it is now, but I think for the viewers that are watching, it's probably bait. It's actual rogue / bait.
Yeah. So, but
It hurts
let's
me
just
to say this, but yeah.
let's just pretend that everybody playing this deck is going to play at peak performance, right?
Yeah,
And then,
I agree.
then we can put it here.
Then it's probably tier 2. Yeah, it's good because you can play Mulligans and you can play 8 Namis if you want, and then it just makes your GP, your green purple matchup, like good, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
all right.
Yeah.
Then moving on to Lim, breakout deck of OP10. I want to say it was definitely tier 1, I think, in OP10. To be honest, now I don't know.
Tier 1, I think.
You still think it's tier 1?
I think maybe this is also another hot take, but I think the deck is actually good. It's at least 50-50 against green purple.
Yeah.
Like when they draw their hands where they have the things that everything actives themselves, the deck is really powerful against the green purple. So I also saw some of the like known Lim players playing like top knot and minusing 2 dawn so that when they ramp, that the purple deck can't draw.
Oh, that's
cards.
funny. That's funny.
Yeah, so they're basically using it to dawn down so that they are on lower dawns to basically avoid them from drawing free cards.
Yeah.
So people are trying to do some cool things with the deck, but I mean Lim is just the problem with the deck is if you go first, it's tier 1.
Yes. Yeah.
If you go first, it's tier 1. If you go second, it's at the bottom of tier 2 probably.
It's actually crazy, right? Like how big the difference is. Like when you're playing this specific deck between going first and going second. That's
there was
probably
a picture
the biggest
with the spread.
Yeah.
I think it was like 72% win rate going first and like 31% win rate going second or something.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, it was like massive difference. So
yeah.
But yeah, we can maybe think about it depending on when we at the end of the thing. But I think it's either top of tier 2 or tier 1.
So I would say
say
it's probably top of tier 2. It's just inherently the engine, like the Odyssey engine in this deck, is just it's very strong. It's also very versatile. I think the matchup into Lucci, I know Lim players are saying the matchup is good. I don't agree personally. I think Lucci is favored playing against this deck slightly again. But you can play like decks. Like the Nico Robin, for example, which you can actually also play in Green Purple Luffy. But
it's not about one of.
Yeah, exactly. But I think I want to put this like at the top of tier 2. We can like reevaluate later.
Yep.
Bro, why? Yeah. There we go. We did it. Then moving on to Marco. So I'm a huge fan of this deck. I love it. And again, this is like, I'm not sure if I would say it's a removal deck per se. However, it can definitely play the removal game, and it can do it when it needs to. So I would honestly, I think this is definitely like a tier 2 deck, and probably it's one of the best ones, to be honest.
I agree.
The matchup is just really good into Green Purple. Again, this is a deck that can play the Animal Engine, which is just inherently very strong. I think it got like a little bit less strong because now people know Marco is playing like the Animal Engine, and then you can kind of like play around it, not attack into open dawn and stuff like that. But just very versatile deck. You can play like aggro at the start of the game, then go like play more control at the end. The Marco abilities just inherently makes the deck very consistent. You can even like put like your blocker chopper to the top of your deck if you need to play it out with the event in the late game. You play like the, what's his face, the 7-cost Whitebeard, which is going to be able to out the Sanji Pudding alongside the Marco ability, which is of course very strong. You can play like Rayleigh, Ben Beckman. Again, those cards also out Sanji and Pudding and other stuff. Very consistent deck. Yeah, but
I think it's my worst matchup as Green Purple. I think as Green Purple Luffy, it's my worst matchup, Marco.
Yeah? You think it's worse than like the black decks? The actual like removal decks? Okay.
I think the removal decks are close. I think Marco is not close. I think Marco is by a good amount favored.
Yeah.
Into Green Purple. So if I would have to list the worst matchup, what deck I would like to find the least is Marco probably.
Okay.
So
okay.
Yeah. I agree with you. I think it's really good.
Yeah, I just think like the weakness again, it's a 4-life leader, and sometimes you just randomly die. Even though
the black decks destroy you, so that's also not a good spot to be in.
Yeah, those are also unfavored, but you can like tech like a little bit to make those matchups a little bit better, which is
the Ferrash Ace, right? The 5
yeah. And you can play Marco, right? 5-cost Marco as well.
Yep,
those are both strong. So yeah, I think it kind of hot take maybe, but I think Marco is better in this format than Teaches. make of that what you will.
Actually, agreed. It's a little bit hard to compare, but yeah, I agree.
Okay, cool, perfect. Then we have Red Green Smoker. You can take it away. What did you think about this deck? Yeah,
I think you know what's tough. We're doing this tier list, and there's a lot of good decks.
Yes,
like a lot, and I think Smoker might be tier 1. And
really?
Yes, like I feel like every time I play against the deck, basically let me ask you, what do you think is Smoker's worst matchups? Like the black decks are okay if you draw the Tashigi hands.
Yes.
Right? The green purple matchup is pretty fine because you play 8-cost Kid.
Yep.
Exactly. And I mean the Lim type of decks and those kind of decks are they're really dependent on your hand. If you draw the Mulgans, they're fine. And Marco is probably bad against you because your boss master is an 8k. They can't pop it, right? Because the Smoker is 8k on your opponent's turn.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like the deck is really maybe it's not tier 1, but it's like high tier 2. Maybe it's like the best tier 2 deck.
Okay, interesting take. So what I think about this deck is that it's one of those few decks that's very similar to Lim and Purple Luffy, where whether you're going first or second is actually kind of a big deal. Yeah. Like if you're going first, the deck's just so much stronger than it is when it is going second. And
I'm not sure. I think it depends on the matchup, right? Because
I suppose
when they go second against the aggro decks, it's better because they can play Smoker plus Mulgan on the 6th on turn because they get 3 back.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's hard for me to say about this deck because I just don't see it having too many like awful matchups, you know. And when a deck is just good across the board, it has to be good.
Yeah, but I also think it's not as consistent as the other decks we have. Like it's not as consistent as Lim or Marco or Teach or Dofi or Moria. Sometimes you're just gonna draw like super awkward hands, and then
maybe it's behind Moria actually. Maybe it's behind Moria actually.
Yeah, I would put it here personally.
Yeah, that's okay. I don't know. I think it's just such an open format. It's really hard to exactly say, but it's a good thing. It's a good thing. Like a lot of decks are good.
Yeah, I think so as well. Then Luffy.
The boogeyman.
like this deck is good, right? For sure.
Yeah.
Like it's for sure a good deck. I'm really not quite sure where to put this, honestly. It's just very consistent. No, it's actually not that consistent, but like it's consistent enough. It can high roll you super, super hard.
Yeah.
It plays the Gum Gum Giant, which we all know that card is absolutely insane.
I think it's another going first deck, I think.
Yeah, I was about to say, literally, like, the next sentence I was gonna say was gonna be exactly that. The die roll is very, very important.
Probably
it's
next
also,
to Lim.
Yeah, it's also not good against the black decks, I think, which
No.
kind of hurts it this format.
And I'm not sure it's good against Green Purple, to be honest. I haven't played against the deck much, but
Yeah.
I don't think actually you have a good matchup. I think the your matchup with Green Purple is not. It's like I would say from on the bad side.
Yeah.
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 So
Yeah.
maybe I'll put it a bit lower. Maybe it's like where Bonnie is. And maybe I would put like there. Just for this format, I think it probably gets a little bit better again in OP11.
Yeah, I also think
so. But yeah. But for now, I would put it there.
Yeah, I think it's somewhere in tier 2. Saying where's kind of hard. Like, it's definitely... You can take this to, like, a regional and top a regional with it, for sure.
Yeah.
But can you do it, like, 3 times in a row? Probably not. Like, I don't know. Yellow Kid. I think he can join his friends, right?
That's why I was laughing, because another yellow deck at tier 3. I don't think it's bait. I don't think it's bait.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have good matchup against the popular decks, so...
No.
Yeah. So I think it's just as simple as that, right? The deck is cool, but your matchups with the popular decks are not good. So
yeah, like it's nice you can beat Zoro, but like how many Zoro are you gonna play in a tournament, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, okay, sorry yellow players, we're just haters, I guess. Like I don't know. Shanks. So hot take, I think this is like a tier 2 deck, but you take it away. What do you think about Shanks?
Yeah, it's definitely. I think the Shanks is the kind of decks where you need to decide the direction.
Yeah.
And I think you need to play control to be able to have a chance against the Green Purple, because if you go for the Straw Hat one, you just lose to them. So they need to play like those stage versions.
With the Red Force,
And then you become so much worse against Teach, so much worse against
Lucci.
Some of the other decks. Yes. So... But I do think like the control version actually is not that bad against Lucci anymore, because you don't have that many like boss, like big things, like they just play Rayleigh after Rayleigh after Rayleigh, which is why it's good, which is why I don't think it's like tier 3, it's tier 2.
Yeah.
But I think it's just not, it's just an inconsistent deck that's powerful, but because it's inconsistent, it cannot be tier 1 in my opinion. Yeah.
I agree. I also think the matchup spread, like on one hand, it's good that Shanks is like 50-50 into almost everything, to be honest. Yeah. Or like close to 50-50. But on the other hand, like you also don't have any like super good matchups, I think. But it's still probably the top of tier 2 though, right?
Yeah, and all the animal decks beat you too. So that's also another thing, is that like these aggro board spread decks, they're just good against you.
Yeah, Shanks, there you have it, tier 2. Now we have Smoker. So, this deck kind of pains me to say, because I really thought it would get better with EB02. But I really feel like it didn't. Like, I already playtested all the mono black decks, basically, and I really feel this is the worst one out of the bunch. Again, it makes me sad, right? I have like this Smoker on my arm, right? I love Smoker. He's my boy, but the deck is just kind of lackluster. It's not bad into Green Purple Luffy or anything. Like it's decent. It can quite consistently deal with the Sanji Pudding and other cards on the board, which is nice, but it doesn't apply that much pressure. It's not super consistent. Because it doesn't have like the mill that Lucci does, and even with the brand new and the Sengoku, like the 1 cost, you don't always find your pieces. I don't think it's as good as Moria. I would put it like somewhere around these guys, probably.
Yeah, I would put it in tier 3, I think. I don't
tier
think it's
3?
good enough. I don't think it's good enough to be tier 2.
Bro, tier 3 is just for yellow decks. You can't be like this.
No, I know, but I think it's the reason why I would put it in tier 3 is because it's a good amount worse than the other black decks.
Yeah. It pains me to say, but I also
Yeah,
think so.
like it's not a bad deck, but it's
No.
just the other mono black decks are just better, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Then we have carrots. I don't want to talk about this too long. I think this is like an actual
I
rogue
agree.
or bait deck.
I
It's
agree.
cool though. I think it's like interesting. It's fun. It got like the new one cost carrot that like adds Zoe and then plays it as well. It's like a 2k, which is good. But then, what is the deck really trying to accomplish, right?
I agree. I think it's just not as good as the other decks, you know.
Yeah, it
If you
can
want to
search
play,
Luna though, which is cool.
yeah, true.
Yeah, but yeah, this is fine. Then we have this
Yeah.
this Luffy deck, which is probably getting support,
I
which
think
is
now
why
it's
I
bait.
wanted to. Yeah, I also think so. But it's better than
Yeah.
Garp and Carrot though.
Yeah. I think it's just a purple deck with Gamma Giant. There is a different
Yep.
few builds you can play. You can play like the Don Quixote family, which picks
Yep.
up events from the trash. But every time I tried the deck, it's missing something. So I think it just needs the starter deck, and then it will be good. But for now, it's bait.
Yeah, maybe they'll print like some 8 cost card that plays like from the trash, like a 4 and a 2 cost or something like that, and then maybe it could be
Maybe.
good. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe.
Yeah, like, with -2 Dawn on it, you know, why not?
Sounds perfectly reasonable. Let's just hope they get that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, moving on to Red Green Odin. You wanted me to put this on the list.
Yeah, I asked you because it's actually like people are playing it quite a bit now. Let's say people are saying it's like good into green, purple, and everything. But I just wanted to let people know that it's a bait deck.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to put it there just because I know people will ask about it. I think it's an okay deck. You are a 6k leader. You have some very powerful like starting turns, and they have they call it the Exodia combo, which
Yeah.
they just built a very big board, but it's just another inconsistent like aggro deck, which in my opinion, I don't see a reason why you play this deck over any of the like animal
Right.
red green decks. So that's why I would put it as bait. But
Yep.
you can play it in in locals. You can win with it, right? Like you could probably win locals with it, but
Then it should be in the yellow tier.
sure. Okay, put it into the yellow tier. Okay,
Okay. Yes.
yellow tier. Yeah,
The yellow tier.
yeah. Well, let's move the next deck into the bait.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. What I really think, like the most funny thing about Buggy, like this deck, it's just not good. But I think it's so funny that it's like a 100% win rate against Teach. I just think that's the most funny thing in the world. Like, if they don't leader effect, they just do like drop multiple big bodies that you can't win anymore. And then if you do the leader effect, they just on 5 Don, they drop like their 10 cost. And then you also just instantly lose. Which is... It just amuses me. I think that's phenomenal. It's amazing.
It's a funny deck. It's a funny deck. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Unlucky for Boogie. Nami. I don't know. It's probably tier 2, right? Somewhere.
I would probably put it tier 1.
Really?
I know. It's sad. It's sad. But you know what the problem I have with Nami is? I have not played against it too much, but I have not... All the games I've seen with Green Purple, they lose.
Really?
Yes, and by default, you would think it's like a really good matchup,
Yeah,
right?
I thought
Because
so,
they have the Luffy. Because they have the Luffy.
Yeah.
But because they have to minus Dawn every turn, you can't do it multiple times. It's not like Red Green Low and Ristan Low, which you can again and again do it. So I think if you talk with with people that are like the best Nami players, they will tell you Doffy gets worse, which makes Nami get better, basically.
Yeah,
and I think
that is true.
Yeah, it's probably... Maybe don't put it in tier 1 because your viewers will hate you. Maybe put it on like top of tier 2.
Bro, don't worry about it. I was never going to put this in tier 1. Don't worry about it.
I think it's really good. I think it's really good. Yeah, maybe put it at the bottom of tier 2 just so that people don't play it. You know?
Yeah, I will. I will. People are going to be skipping to the end to just like see the list.
Yes.
And then I'll see it over there. That's perfect.
Guys, it's like probably the best deck in tier 2, but for people who are just gonna look at the tier list, it's not very good. Okay, don't play it.
Perfect. Okay, so the other Straw Hat girl, she goes in the yellow tier, right? She's a yellow deck. She goes over here. Yeah.
You know, I respect her. She's not better than Vegapunk. No.
Okay.
So just one stage under Pegap. Yeah, like that.
Yeah. This is a cool deck, by the way. I do think this deck is cool. It's fun. It's just not very good, especially with black now probably being more popular again. This deck's just not good against black decks. So
And the
unlucky
animal
Nico
decks
Rowan.
just
Yes,
and the
same.
animal based decks, they just run over you basically.
Same.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Then we have Katakuri. He can go in the yellow tier, right? He's a yellow deck.
Yeah, you think so? Oh,
I
yeah,
think
I
so.
was thinking of bait, but
Really?
I think it's fine there.
No, I think
Yeah,
it's. No, I think it's definitely significantly better than the Bait decks, to be honest.
sure. Okay, I believe that. I believe that.
Okay. Reiju. This deck is good. Good
Yeah,
deck.
tier
I like
two.
it. Oh, you played this actually. Talk about it. Tell us about it.
Yeah, I played it in the previous format, not EB.
Yeah.
And I think the deck is really good. I think it has a lot of like okay matchups. The Teach matchup is terrible,
Yeah.
but Teach gets
Worse.
significantly worse, so there's going to be less of them. Yeah, I think it's generally a good deck. I don't think there's too much to say about it. People play without the judge. I think you kinda need to be careful during like a green purple format because the deck is just usually not so good against 6k leaders
Right.
at the
Yeah.
late game when you're low on dawn. But it's just a good deck. I think
Yeah.
it can go anywhere in tier 2 and it's good.
Yeah. And it's very good into Lucci, by the way, which is like a upside for this deck.
Yeah.
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 Cool. Then we have Yamato. She can go in the yellow tier, right? She's a yellow deck. She can go in yellow.
Sure. I will just keep it to myself. I keep my opinion to myself.
Well, do you want to put it in bait?
Yeah, I think it's bait.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. I can live with that. No,
Yeah,
sorry, I have to put it in yellow. I'm sorry. It's just
Sure.
I agree. Let's just put it
Sure.
at the bottom of yellow. It's just a
Sure.
yellow deck. Like it needs to
Sure.
be there.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay, then again, you can just talk about this leader. I don't know, but I would assume it's like it's next to Chopper. Right.
Yeah, I think it's. I actually, you won't like this, but I think it's a little bit better than Chopper.
That's fine. That's fine.
It's basically they are the same deck,
Yeah.
but one of them is better like going wide, like attacking fives. Let's say
Yeah.
the other one is better attacking bigger hits.
Yeah.
And I think the Luffy deck just takes bigger advantage of the like cards like Cavendish.
Yeah.
Like to be able to like attack bigger numbers.
Yeah.
But they're both in the same negative side, right? They are
Yeah.
4 life leaders that are aggressive. Yeah, that if they play against Lucci and they pop your board, you're dead.
Unlucky.
Basically, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but they yeah, it's again, it's just an aggressive deck that can play 8 Searchers and Mulligan.
Yeah.
So, pretty good.
Yeah, we already talked about it. Plays the Animal Packers, plays Morgan. It's super consistent.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the event is broken. The animal event is unbelievably broken. Like,
Yes.
yeah. So,
In fact, actually
Yeah.
crazy. And then we
Yeah.
actually, the last two decks we have here are two black decks. So let's start with ST14 Luffy. I think this deck is very strong, actually.
Mhm.
So again, it's like a removal black deck, but it's also a 6k leader. Like, not like from the start, of course, but like at some point it does become a 6k leader. Removal black deck just inherently pretty good into Green Purple Luffy, and this deck's also like pretty strong into Lucci actually. It's a little bit dial dependent though. Like if you really want to be going second, but if you do go second, it's very very powerful into Lucci. The Sengoku is a great addition to this deck, because it like enables the lead to become, a 6k leader. You just play the Navy engine. I really don't know what to say about this deck, to be honest. It's just very strong.
Yeah,
Very
I think
strong.
it's just bad against the aggro decks. I think
Yeah.
you will
Yeah.
see at the end of the tier list, you will also get what I mean when we talk about Lucci.
Yeah.
But I think it's good against the 2 best decks in the format. So, like by default, it has to be. It's just quite bad against a lot of the decks in tier 2.
Yeah.
So like the animal decks are very good very good
Yep.
against it. Shanks
For
is really
sure.
good against it. Lim is really good against it.
Yep.
I would assume Reiju is really
Yeah.
good against
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. It is. Yeah.
So probably also Nami is good against them.
Yeah.
Like,
yes, it is. Yeah. Can
yeah,
confirm.
it loses to a lot of the tier 2 decks. So
Yeah.
that's why it won't go to tier 1. But it's good against the top 2 decks, so it has
Yep.
to be tier 2.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. And then Lucci. So I'm not sure if you agree, but I think this is a tier 1 deck.
I think it's bait.
Bro, I'm just gonna mute you now. Like that's crazy. No.
I'm trolling. Yeah,
I
it's tier
mean,
1.
it didn't get any new tools, but Lucci is just inherently such a versatile deck when it comes to deck building, right? You can really just like take a look at the format and like, okay, this is gonna be the best deck. I can use my flex spots to build against the Green Purple Luffy deck. And I really think even because Teach will now be less popular because Green Purple Luffy is going to be the best deck, which is very strong into Teach, that leaves more room for Lucci, but it actually also leaves a lot of room in Lucci deck building to build the deck more consistently. Which is very strong, of course. You can just go like 4 Uta, 4 Laboon, 4 Kuzan, and make your green-purple matchup very, very strong, and just also inherently make the deck a lot more consistent. It just does have a very good matchup into a lot of the tier 2 decks as well.
You know what I noticed? Sorry? You know what I noticed with Lucci? Is every time they ban a card, the deck gets better.
Yeah.
And not only that, is every time this happens, people remember again that Kuzan 4 cost is like the best black card in the game.
Yeah.
Because I have this discussion every time saying Kuzan is bad. Then something happens, and all of a sudden Kuzan is a 4-off.
Yeah.
Then I talk to somebody and they're like, oh, Kuzan is only a 2-off. And then all of a sudden Kuzan is a 4-off again.
Yeah.
Guys, 4-cost Kuzan is insanely broken. Like playing Kuzan on 4 Dawn is just
game breaking.
Like no matter what deck I play, when my opponent plays Kuzan on 4, I feel like I'm behind.
Yeah.
You know? So but I agree. Lucci's tier 1. I think it's the weakest of the two tier 1 decks.
It's just not as consistent.
It's just because not as consistent as Green Purple was. And it is because it has a really polarizing matchup to Teach. Because if you want to beat Green Purple consistently, you build the deck without the trash cards.
Yep, exactly.
And then you basically just concede the
so
Teach
lost
matchup.
format, I want to build deck to also have like a winning chance against Teach, because I really thought you kind of had to. But at this point I'm like, if I face Teach in EB02 format, I'll just take the hard L. Like, it is what it is.
Like, it is what it is.
Yep. And that's totally fine, right? That's the game plan. If you're going to find in a tournament, if you expect Teach to be 7%, 8% of the format, on average, you'll find one in a 10-round event, and you are totally okay with just basically accepting the loss to that.
Just very unlucky if you faced in top cut.
Just very unlucky if you faced in top cut, I guess.
Yeah, or if you face 3 of them, then you're going to have a bad day, right? But
unlucky.
It can happen with any deck. So I think Lucci is really good. It's pretty good against a lot of the decks. But it has unfortunately the same inconsistency issue that some other decks have, that you are a little bit dependent on like the way that your opening hands start. It's not inconsistent as a deck, but it's just
I think it beats stuff like Shanks, for example, consistency-wise, just because Lucci sees 2 extra cards every turn. Sure, they are in the trash.
Sure, they are in the trash.
The trash is just like a resource for the Lucci deck. But it's just like...
But you are a little bit dependent on the Rebecca's. Like, you need to see Rebecca's. You need, like, at least Manchiri or Rebecca, you need to see them in your hand, or you're basically the deck just does not function very properly, right? So, and you can't search it, right? So it's like it was in the past where you needed Moria and you can't search it and you couldn't pick it up. And if you had 3 Morias in hand, one after another, you could never lose. So Lucci is just a very powerful deck, right? And just to close off, my thought on the deck is it's a very good, very powerful deck. The high rolls are unbeatable, and it's a 5-life leader.
Yes.
So that's where the strength comes from. Is even the games where you drop a lot of bricks, just by being 5-life leader, it gives you time.
And the extra card, right?
And I think that's why
the extra card's big.
Yeah, that's why I think in the future, I would be surprised if the leader will not get touched. Let's just say it like that. I know you don't want to hear
but
that.
I'm like,
you can't see me, but I'm like
shaking my head and looking very upset.
shaking my head and looking very upset.
I know, but I think you have to agree, right? When you ban 2 cards and then you ban another card and then you ban another 2 cards and the deck is still tier 1.
Yeah.
I think without adding cards, by the way.
No new support.
Like they banned all of these.
Yeah.
And no new support, and it's still tier 1. There has to be something fundamentally wrong.
I really think they just accidentally. I think they made the most generically good black leader like very early on, and I really think NL is the same to Lucci. Only the black card pool is like so much better than the yellow card pool is. That for Lucci it's like a problem. Sorta,
like a
because
problem,
like you said, the deck
sorta,
is just
because like you said,
it just
the deck
stays
is
the best black
it
deck
just stays the
ever
best
since
black
release.
deck ever since release.
I would much rather them print very good leader locked cards
Yeah.
and just get rid of Lucci, because I don't mind black being good, and I think you wouldn't mind either if they would make Smoker the best deck and they banned Lucci. But
I would be a
maybe
little
I'm
bit
wrong,
upset.
but
A
correct me
little
wrong,
bit.
upset. a little bit.
Yeah, but like then at least you're not, because I feel like in every format you try all these black decks and then
Yeah.
you always end up in
Yeah,
Lucci
it's
anyway
true.
because it's the best one.
It's true.
Yeah, it's true.
Right?
It's true.
And I would just rather see some more variety than just, sit back and just wait for my opponent to either have everything to pop my board every turn or not, and I win.
Yeah,
That's how it feels sometimes,
Yeah, I really feel like it's
Yeah.
just it's kind of broken that the Lucci makes such a good use of the forecast Lucci, right? That card is just it's just kind of oppressive. Let's be real.
Yeah, because if you draw the cards, you will win.
Yeah.
Against most of the matchups, if you can pop their things every turn,
Yeah.
there is just nothing your opponent can do, right? And
Yeah.
and that's fine. That I guess it's in a way it's okay to have decks like this in the format, but it just needs to be a little bit like not the same leader every.
Yeah, I do
every-
kind of agree.
every
That's why
format,
I've been
right?
playing like so much Moria, right? The past few weeks. I was just like kind of tired of playing Lucci for like the past year or something.
In the last regional, I lost to Moria and I was not upset. I was not mad because I was like, at least it's something different,
Yeah.
But like I played against the Lucci, I won. But it's basically
You were still upset. Okay.
He popped everything I played for 4 turns, and then one turn he couldn't pop what I played, and I won.
GG.
and I was thinking, oh wait, okay, that's what it is. So
yeah.
But so maybe just a overview.
Yeah.
So
I was just gonna say let's recap. Yeah.
Yeah. So for recap, I think this tier list looks pretty good, to be honest. I think people will be upset about Vegapunk being so low and maybe Belobetti. I think those are the two. I think the most
controversial
choices we put is Vegapunk and Belobetti.
Maybe Enel as well. Like people were really hyped for this leader when the new tank cost got announced.
Yeah, but that was before they banned Raigo, right?
I guess that is true. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I think the Raigo ban changed. I think if Raigo was a card, NL would be tier 2, high tier 2, I think.
Yeah, I also think.
But just having no option of KOing anything big is just.
It's rough. It's rough.
Yeah,
for sure.
it's rough. So, but yeah, I think Vegapunk is there because if your opponent knows how to play, it's there.
Yeah.
And I think Belobetti is just one set too early to be to being really good. And honestly, this tier list shows that the format is in a very good spot. You could basically win or like at least top 8 a regional with any of the decks in tier 2. I feel like depending a little bit on your matchups. Probably the ending decks of tier 2 are the ones who are a little bit more debatable. Like Nami, like the low deck, for example, the animal decks.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a lot of these decks here have like either you have to go first a lot. There is a lot of things that are depending. That's why they're tier 2. But they are definitely all of them powerful, and they could all win a tournament, right?
Yep. Yeah, I agree. What's your favorite deck going into the format?
I think it's Green Purple Luffy.
I think
I like it's in a way similar to RP Law. I see a lot of people making that comparison.
Yeah.
But in a more fair way, I would say.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yes, and I like that it's complicated. Like, I stream sometimes and people watch and I just see them say like, oh, shit, I didn't even think about this,
Yeah.
Like I had a turn where I just went like double Usohachi, rest the thing, then leader effect Luna, freeze the board, attack and pass. And people don't think about things like this, like that you can actually use Usohachi not to rest a blocker, but just to rest something so you can freeze it with Luna.
Not to go for game, yeah.
Exactly, or like declining Pudding Dawns because it matters. Or, I had a game where I needed a 2k to survive and I leader effect first and then I play Pudding because now I'm on lower down than my opponent, so I can draw a card. And you draw the 2k and I survive because of it.
Yeah.
And you have a lot of decisions, which is what I like about decks.
Yeah, I agree. It was the same with Luffy.
And it's not as bad against Lucci. So I think that's the main thing for me. It's because I'm just kind of done losing to Lucci with every deck I try to build, you know. So
I can't wait to play with like a store treasure cup. Gonna be great.
that's fine. That's fine. If I lose, it's okay. But I know I have a better chance.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, I get
Like
it.
when I see you with red green low, I just sit there and I'm like, okay, well,
Unlucky.
yeah, that's it. Oh, finals against the Joshua again. Okay, well, I guess second place it is. You know.
It was fun while it lasted. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's fine, right? It's fine.
Yeah.
It's okay for decks to have bad matchups, but I am not a fan of like 100% matchups.
Yeah.
Like I don't enjoy playing decks long term that have deck matchups that are like,
Yeah.
when you see them you lost.
You just utterly lose. Yeah, I get that. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's call it a day. We went on pretty long, but I do think we had like a pretty good Yep session. So
Yeah,
that's good. So yeah, guys, please, as always, like let me know in the comments down below what you think of our takes about this tier list going into the format. Leave a like. Please also check out George, his stream. Once again, it's in the description down below. Of course, subscribe. Yeah, bye guys.
Bye bye.